Slamdown Podcast is sponsored by Body Slam and Jam, the wrestling game YouTuber. To see his videos on YouTube, search YouTube Body Slam, capital N and Jam, or to follow him by Twitter, it is at Body Slam, capital N, Jam. Welcome to another show of Slamdown Podcast. For regulars and for new people, we are doing everything Raw. First, I want to start off with Raw starting to improve. I've noticed it seems like creative is starting to go in the right direction. There is a few points which I'll talk about later in the show where I think they can make a very vast improvement. But compared to previous shows of Raw, this was slightly better, and I mean just slightly better. But comparing it to other promotions out there, well, the only other big promotion I can compare it to is TNA, and Raw's doing massively better than that. So, yeah, but I'm not going to dig at TNA too much because, you know, I want to keep this on topic and keep it with talking about Raw. We saw the show opened up with Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho in the highlight reel. You know, as they're playing the best friends gimmick, where we've seen so far since Kevin Owens has held the Universe title that Jericho is interfered in every match to make sure Kevin Owens wins. Now, one little problem I'm having with this whole angle, and it's not even them being best friends, my problem is the Triple H. Okay? When Kevin Owens won that title, we saw Triple H come in and pedigree Seth Rollins to give Kevin Owens the victory. Now, we haven't seen Triple H since. We don't know why Triple H done it. We don't know what's going on. We know nothing. All we got to see was Triple H do that, and then he disappeared. And we've only ever seen him in the car with Stephanie. That's it. Now, you can't leave it this long. You know, it's been months now and we haven't had anything. You know, we haven't had an explanation why Triple H is putting why he turned his back on Seth Rollins. We've got nothing. I do believe what might happen is we might see Seth Rollins versus Triple H at WrestleMania. So, could we see Triple H turn up at the Royal Rumble? It's a possibility. We could, you know, with the Royal Rumble, we could see Seth Rollins in it, and then Triple H comes down, entry again, and takes Seth Rollins out, leading up to a match with them two at WrestleMania. I know there's a lot of rumours going around with maybe the Undertaker taking AJ. I know there's a lot of rumours going with WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble. People keep saying there's going to be legends coming back, this legend, that legends. Possibly. You know, especially now we've got the news that Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg are both going to be in the Rumble. I think it's still early doors to guess who's going to be in the Rumble. We're just going to have to wait and see. And I prefer not to know who's going to be in. I would rather, like, if they're bringing legends back, I'd rather it be a surprise. Because in old Rumbles, we used to, you know, we get that, oh my God moments. You know, when we've seen Bully Ray, when he turned up at a Royal Rumble, everyone was like, oh my God. You know, I think Road Dogg did it. You know, it was the unsurprising entries that gave us that oh my God feeling. And I'm hoping we don't hear about who's going in and who's not going to be in. I hope it's a complete surprise because that's one thing I love. I know Bully Ray or Bubba Ray Dudley has teased about being in the Rumble, which to me it would be nice. It would be nice for him to have a decent singles run with the WWE because he pulled it off in TNA brilliantly. But can he contend with the top dogs in the WWE at the minute? That's where it's a bit wary. You know, it could work brilliantly or it could fall flat on its face. We'll just have to wait and see what's going to happen down the line. But anyway, forget the Triple H bit at the minute. Then Roman Reigns crashed the party. Jericho was turned around and said, "Do you know what, you stupid idiot? And then Kevin Owens told him to shut up. So Jericho was looking there at Kevin Owens like, what the hell? And Roman Reigns was basically saying, you can't beat me without your lackeys. It's hard to sit there and listen to Reigns because he's such a bad face. He needs to be a heel. That's what will work for him. You either put the Shield back together or you have him run as a heel. As a face, he's not believable. He gets booed every single time. It's stop trying to shove someone down our throats. If there's a character we're not liking and we're booing that, flip him heel. Let him enjoy the heat. Why not have him come down and cut a promo and said, I don't care what you stupid fans think. I am the guy. Go that way with it instead of, I'm the guy. You're just egg on. Right, okay. Do you know what I mean? I can't understand who's pushing him to stay face. But this was leading to a match at the main event where it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns wins, he gets a shot at the title at Roadblock. But we did see Chris Jericho heading backstage to go into his car because he was upset, with Kevin Owens, because they had a little tiff backstage as well. And we saw that leading to Jericho about to get in the car. Then Seth Rollins appears and starts a backstage fight between them in the parking lot where we see Seth Rollins, and by the end of it, ends up pedigreeing Jericho on top of a car. Now, we haven't seen any sort of attack like that in a parking lot for a long time. And so this is why sometimes they give us a glimpse of the Attitude Era. And to me, I really enjoyed that. Not just because I'm a hardcore nut, but because it was something different. We haven't seen it in a while. It was done the right way. Coming up after the commercial, we saw R-Truth and Goldust in the ring. Now, it just seems to me, with R-Truth and Goldust, they're just like, yeah, stick them in a match. They'll lose. Stick them in a match. They'll lose. Because R-Truth is a brilliant athlete. And I think they've ruined his character, to be honest. If there was someone that I said, if there was one person that we should release, to me it'd be R-Truth. Because I'd love him to go back to TNA and use the Ron Killings gimmick. Because I think he's being wasted with the WWE. But that's my opinion. So we had Braun Strowman taking on R-Truth. R-Truth got the victory. We saw Sami Zayn come down. When Mick Foley was in the ring after that match and confronting Mick Foley and saying, why did you stop my match? Mick Foley telling him, I don't want you to get hurt. Same boring promos, basically, where Sami Zayn says he wants Braun Strowman, and yeah. If I had to give that a rating, probably 1 star. It was... I don't know if wrestlers are allowed to cut their own promos or if they're being scripted, because if they're being scripted, it's god-awful. Right. Everybody knows I love cruiserweights, but I don't like the WWE cruiserweights. It's not the athletes themselves. There's nothing behind them. We saw Tony Neve taking on Alexander, but there was absolutely nothing behind it. There was no story. There was no reason for these fighting. Where it's just like you've just stuck 2 guys to fight each other, and because they're cruiserweights and it's the ropes are purple. This is what I can't understand. They did the Cruiserweight Classics was fantastic, and then they've put the Cruiserweights on Raw and they've just gone shit. But that is down to creative again, not giving them any gimmick, no promo. We're not seeing no rivalries. We're just seeing match, 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 match. Yes, they have brilliant matches. Their ability in the ring's amazing, but you've got to give them substance. Without substance, they just look plain and flat. You know, it's frustrating. You know, because back in the day, cruiserweights used to be amazing. They all had character. You know, you had Hurricane Helms and you had funny backstage statements, but you had good matches in the ring. You know, everybody had something about them. But there's no character behind it. The only character I can name is Swan because he dances to the ring. That's it. They really, really need to work a lot more on the cruiserweights. I know we've got the 205 thing starting up after SmackDown, but I still think it's just going to be a load of cruiserweight matches. It's disappointing to me. It really is disappointing. We also had the Raw Women's Champions fight, Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks, which ended in a double count out. After the count out, Mick Foley came out and said this rivalry is going to end. Thank you at last. We don't want every week, every pay-per-view. Charlotte, Sasha, Charlotte, Sasha, Charlotte, Sasha. Oh, wait. That match was popular last pay-per-view. Let's do it again. Charlotte, Sasha. Oh, really? Please, just know. You've got other divas on your roster. Use them. We don't want the same matches repeated and repeated and repeated. It's like the same with Cesaro and Sheamus when they were against each other. When they did the 7 Series, it was match over and over and over. It got boring. And yes, they put on 5-star matches, but it's boring. We've seen it all before. But Mick Foley came down and said they were going to fight, and it'd be the end of the rivalry at the main event, and made it a no DQ match. Then we saw, after that, we saw, I always get his name confused, Enzo Amore and Big Kaz coming down to the ring for the singles match with Enzo taking on Rusev. For people who didn't see it last week, Enzo Amore was trapped outside the locker room with no clothes by Big Kaz, and you saw him walking backstage and was talking to Lorna, and then Rusev come along, wasn't happy that Enzo was naked in front of his wife, which led to the match last week. Apparently, they wanted to do that match again, and they did it again with the same result. Just, right, okay. But this time they had Rusev kick Enzo in the lower region and got disqualified. Right, okay. And then another pointless cruiserweight match. Rich Swann taking on one of my favourites, Noam Dar. No reason these two are facing. No purpose again. No substance. Good match, but nothing behind it again. You know, Rich Swann is taking on Brian Kendrick for the cruiserweight title at 205 Live, but there was nothing about it. Again, I still want to know why they're calling the show 205 Live. I can't get that. I also can't get my head around where Raw holds the cruiserweights, but you're playing a cruiserweight show straight after SmackDown. That doesn't make sense to me. You know, is it Vince McMahon? And I just want to apologise. I did say divas earlier. I shouldn't have said divas. They're women wrestlers. I'll do it. I'll get the chain. I got it mixed up. My fault. You don't shoot me on that. But no. Yeah, and so what is this 205 Live meant to mean? What's it about? There's nothing. It doesn't give us nothing. It's just really, really bad to me. I think as soon as Triple H runs the whole company, the better it could be. After the Rich Swann match, Rich Swann defeated Noam Dar. But yeah, that match was good, so I'll give it 3 stars out of 5, but they need to add more to the cruiserweights. They need to have more character, more charisma, you know, they need that part of them. It's not just about, I'm a brilliant wrestler. You've got to have that more about them. We went to the main. Well, was it the main event? No, sorry, wasn't the main event. It was US champion Roman Reigns against Kevin Owens. It was actually a good match. I thought they were going to bury Kevin Owens a bit, but Kevin Owens held his own against Roman Reigns. It was actually quite a good match for me. I'm going to definitely give this 4 out of 5, but it ended with Roman Reigns getting the win, leading to a match at Roadblock. After that, we saw a backstage statement with Paul Heyman and Michael Cole, where Paul Heyman declares Brock is going to be in the Royal Rumble match. Well, a lot of us knew this before this, thanks to the internet, but he confirmed it's going to happen. He says Brock is going to be more fierce because he has something to prove. That's about it. Then we had the travesty of the Raw Tag Team Champions, The New Day, taking on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I've said this so many times. Please, please put Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson on SmackDown. Stop burying them to The New Day. Jesus. We all remember the Bullet Club and how much of a cult following the Bullet Club had. Why isn't the WWE taking advantage of that? I wouldn't have split up the club. I would have kept AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson together. I would have been Shinsuke Nakamura. I would have had him with them and kept him as the club. Because you could capitalise on that. You could sell a lot of merchandise and it could be bloody amazing. But no. The WWE don't like doing things that could be amazing and split the club up, have Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson on Raw, AJ Styles on SmackDown. And they're burying Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, making them lose to the New Day. It's annoying. In New Japan, this wouldn't happen. And again, New Day cheated, but they're still a face. How can a face cheat? If you cheat, you're a heel. It's like blurred lines all over again. And if New Day beat Demolition's record of holding the tag team titles, that will annoy me even more. The Road Warriors are amazing. The New Day are not amazing like the Road Warriors. Stop it. Have the New Day lose their titles. There are professional wrestling fans that watch this show. We're all not little kids that want a unicorn fucking strap on our bloody heads. Jesus Christ. But yeah, New Day's won. I'm just hoping they not beat the record. Backstage, we saw another statement with Sheamus and Cesaro in the pub. We saw Sheamus having Guinness and Cesaro having martini, shaken not stirred, drinking at the pub, and then there is people in the background insulting them, winding them up. And then we saw them two team up, taking out all the people in the pub. Sheamus threw someone through a wall. And then they look at each other and go, maybe we make a good team after all. So you can tell they're sticking them two as a tag team, and they've just basically made it look they've got over their problems with over a drink. Now, the main event. I think this is only the second time the women have main evented Raw, which was Sasha Banks versus Charlotte Flair. Amazing match. I know I've been critical that we've seen this match too much, but it was amazing. To Charlotte go through the railing, they have this railing up the stairs and there's a gap through it. To have Charlotte going through that gap and then bent backwards into the Banks lock, brilliant idea, brilliant way to finish the match. But from the start of the match, Sasha Banks says she's declaring this match to Ric Flair, who Charlotte disowned. After the match, after Sasha Banks beat Charlotte, Ric Flair came down to the ring, raised her arm and pointed to her, which makes me want to watch next week to see what's going to happen with Charlotte, if she's going to confront her dad and what's going to go on there. But if I had to give that match a rating, I'll give it 4 out of 5. It would be 5 stars if them two didn't repeat so much. It's always repeat. And it seems the WWE do this a lot. Repeat the same match over and over again. with different. Just don't. You know, we see rivalries are lasting over 3 to 4 pay-per-views. I've lost interest after the second pay-per-view. That seems to be one of their main problems. There's so much potential with Raw, but it seems like it's not used correctly or in the right way. But I think that's all I've got really to say for this show. I would say tune into Raw. And also don't forget, you can comment on our YouTube or on our Facebook what you thought of Raw. A little update on the intro. The guy that's making our intro, which we announced on Twitter, hopefully the song should be ready by the weekend. I've listened to one version. He's going to add some more bits and bobs to it, finalise it, give it a nice smooth ending to the track, and that'll be ready. Also, we're also having a video made to go with the track. So hopefully starting, I'm not going to say we will be starting, I'm going to say hopefully starting next week, we'll have a full video intro and then leading into the show. But we'll keep you updated via Twitter, which what's going on. And if you haven't got us on Twitter, it is at SlamDownLive. Or you can check on the website, which is slamdown.co.uk. Or you can go on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/slamdownpc. So, big thanks to everybody who's been watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow with Smack Talk.